Tonight, I have a story on the Iowa governor race.
And I've got the latest on the Des Moines tax hike.
I'll have all your updates in Iowa State sports. This is Newswatch.
Welcome to Newswatch. I'm Kayla Brady.
And I'm Kaylee Crow. Thanks for joining us.
Midterms are over, and graduating seniors are now that much closer to the end. Iowa State President Wendy Winterstein announced there will be a change regarding commencement this spring. There will now be 2 undergraduate commencement ceremonies, Winterstein said, and I quote, "This change best aligns with our wishes of prospective graduates," end quote. Both commencements will take place in Hilton Coliseum on May 5th. The first ceremony will start at 10 a.m. for students in the colleges of Agriculture and Life Sciences, Business, and Liberal Arts and Sciences. The second ceremony will start at 2:30 p.m. for students in the colleges of Design, Engineering, and Human Sciences.
Des Moines political leaders approved a 20-cent increase to the city's property tax earlier this morning. This comes less than 2 days after voters rejected a 1-cent increase. The increase had a majority vote within the city, but was heavily voted against in the surrounding suburbs. The city is already looking for ways to save money, like cutting staff and programs, like Connect Downtown, which aims to get rid of one-way streets and add more bike lanes downtown.
Iowa's Republican Governor Kim Reynolds is running for re-election this year. Reynolds is the first female governor in office for the state of Iowa. She was assumed into office after former Governor Terry Branstad resigned to become the U.S. ambassador to China. According to the Des Moines Register and the Mediacom Iowa poll, 2 Democratic challengers are threatening Reynolds' position. State Senator Nate Bolton and retired businessman Fred Hubble are leading the Democratic poll.
Cities across the country are using programs like the Alpha Project in Albuquerque to provide hundreds of part-time jobs to the homeless. 16-year-old Kevin Barber wanted to implement one in San Diego, which hosts the country's 4th largest homeless population. So Barber and his mother reached out to the city government to start a trial run of the homeless program. Several times a week, a van picks up 8 to 10 people from one of the downtown homeless shelters. The workers travel to different locations, removing trash and debris from many of the same sidewalks and park benches where they once used to sleep. Bob McElroy, who helps the homeless through the nonprofit Alpha Project, said he's seen the program's impact on the streets and on the faces of the homeless workers as their fellow citizens come out and cheer for their efforts.
An email from Iowa State President Wendy Winterstein revealed that the university is requiring students to complete a sexual assault online training. Haven is an online program that touches the importance of understanding sexual misconduct. The program emphasizes how students can make their environments safer for everyone. The university made it clear they are requiring students to complete the training because they hope to make a difference. Haven is the first step in creating a better education about sexual misconduct on Iowa State's campus.
Stay tuned after the break for a story on International Women's Day.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to Newswatch. The Florida gun bill spurred by the Parkland school massacre is just one signature away from being a law. Senate Bill 7026, dubbed the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act, would toughen gun control in several ways, but also include a controversial provision that would allow some teachers to be armed. If Governor Rick Scott signed the bill into law, it would raise the age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21, require a 3-day waiting period for firearm purchases, ban the sale or possession of bump fire stocks, and give law enforcement more authority to seize weapons and ammunition from those deemed mentally unfit or otherwise a threat. and provide additional funding for armed school resources for officers. And finally, it would enact the Coach Aaron Fee's Guardian Program, which would allow some teachers to be armed if the local school district and the local sheriff's department agree. The last item was named after the coach who shielded students from bullets with his own body and died in the February 14th massacre.
Today is International Women's Day, and women all around the world gathered to protest to draw attention to the role that women play in the working world. The protests gained the biggest traction in Spain, where the gender pay gap is 19%, and reports of domestic violence are rising rapidly. Women gathered around the central square in Madrid at midnight, chanting and begging pots and pans, while the surrounding buildings were lit up with purple lights, the official color of International Women's Day.
Jonathan Walker was charged with 6 counts of vehicular homicide for his role in a Chattanooga, Tennessee bus crash that left 6 young children dead. The bus driver on trial for his role in the death of the 6 elementary students said in court Wednesday that the fatal crash occurred after he veered away from a white vehicle that was encroaching into his lane. The bus carrying 37 students from Woodmore Elementary School in Chattanooga, Tennessee, flipped over and crashed into a tree in November 2016, leaving 6 children between the ages of 6 and 10 dead. Prosecutors argued in court that Walker was driving well above the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit and was on his phone when the school bus swerved off the street.
While it may be snowy here in Ames, it was raining Busch beer on Interstate 10 in Oskaloosa County, Florida. 30 tons of beer spilled out of a semi-truck after it overturned on the interstate. According to a news release, 44-year-old Michael Nolan Powell of Simpsonville, South Carolina, failed to maintain driving within his lane. Around 2:40 a.m., the truck veered off into the shoulder of the road. Powell was treated for minor injuries at the scene and was charged with careless driving.
A Missouri police officer was killed this week in the line of duty, was met with gunfire only after he was dispatched to the wrong house. 30-year-old officer Christopher Ryan Morton was shot dead late Tuesday at a home in Clinton after dispatchers received a 911 call in which they could only hear 2 women screaming. 2 other officers, Nathan Betancourt and Nicholas Casper, also were injured in the shootout with James Waters, 37, according to the State Patrol. A SWAT team leader found Waters dead inside the home. The 3 Clinton Police Department officers, however, shouldn't have been sent to the Clinton address because the 911 call originated from an address in nearby Windsor, Missouri. When they went in the house to make sure everything was safe, Waters, with previous charges, opened fire at the cops, killing Christopher Morton.
Up next, Hannah gives you the weather. Don't go away, you're watching Newswatch.
Save the Bears. Sign the petition. Go to helpbears.org. That's helpbears.org.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm meteorologist Hannah Messier, and I've got some interesting weather for us today. Tonight we're going to stay cold, and into tomorrow things slightly warm up with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, maybe even getting to 40 tomorrow. And then this weekend, some disappointing news, we will have another chance for snow Saturday and Sunday, especially Saturday night, but a bit more on that later. It's 24 degrees in Sioux Falls, 29 in Des Moines, and 23 in Minneapolis tonight. Our Iowa radar has us having clear sky tonight. Clouds move in and then dissipate across the area throughout our afternoon until currently, again, we do have a clear sky. This means temperatures are going to be a bit lower. 27 in Carroll, 26 in Ames, 21 in Ottumwa. The wind speeds, however, are calm. We have calm in Fort Dodge, only 4 miles per hour in Ames, 4 in Ottumwa, and 6 in Mason City. Tomorrow, the temperatures are going to be in the mid-30s up in Elcador, 36 in Manchester, and 35 in Waverly. To our southeast, it's going to be 41 in Mount Pleasant, 42 in Iowa City, and 40 in Montezuma. will be in the upper 40s for the northwestern portion of the state, 44 in Atlantic, 48 in Red Oak, and even 51 in Shenandoah tomorrow. Up to the north again, it is colder, 37 in Pocahontas, 37 in Fort Dodge, and 36 in Orange City. The futurecast shows the snow that could possibly move into tomorrow mornings just north of Spencer, mainly sticking in Minnesota. However, tomorrow, again, Spencer and Fort Dodge could see some snow bands pop up on the radar. Tomorrow night, though, that clears all out. Spencer could see clouds. Carroll and Des Moines might have some clouds come up. Watch what happens Saturday, though. We have Saturday morning, Spencer and Marshall up in Minnesota could also see some more snow. And then up in South Dakota, you do see some possible freezing rain and mixed precipitation going on. But back to tonight, we'll have increasing clouds, a cloudy evening, winds coming out of the east at 6 miles per hour. And then tomorrow morning, we have 40 degrees, so it does get a bit warmer for us here in Ames. It'll be partly sunny, winds staying calm, 8 miles per hour at the most, and we will have a partly sunny sky. Looking into the rest of next week, 43 on Saturday and Sunday, but again, we will probably see snow even though it won't stick. 43 on Monday and Tuesday, and then watch what happens next week. We warm up, 57 on Thursday and 50 on Sunday. You are watching Newswatch. We'll have more for you after the break.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time.
Welcome back to Newswatch. The Iowa State men's basketball team fell to the Texas Longhorns last night in the first round of the Big 12 tournament, 68-64. Despite another strong showing from Iowa State fans in Kansas City, the Cyclones were not able to defend their Big 12 title. Lindell Wigginton led the Cyclones with 20 points, while Zoran Talley contributed 12. Donovan Jackson ended his Cyclone career by dropping a career-high 8 assists. The Cyclones finished a disappointing rebuild season with a 13-18 overall record. The Iowa State softball team will begin their 2018 spring break trip tomorrow. The Cyclones are headed to Texas to compete in the Houston Hilton Plaza Classic. Some notable opponents for Iowa State include Northwestern, Penn State, and the hometown Houston Cougars. The Cyclones are looking to improve upon a 2-3 performance in their last tournament. Iowa State will play a total of 10 games over a 13-day span in the Lone Star State. In professional basketball, Derrick Rose will sign with the Minnesota Timberwolves and be reunited with former head coach Tom Thibodeau. Rose signed for the remainder of the season and hopes to help the Wolves with their playoff push. Rose landed in Minnesota after being traded from the Cleveland Cavaliers and cut by the Jazz, and he's still searching to find consistent minutes after suffering several injuries. Your 25th ranked Iowa State gymnastics team will be hosting Iowa and 19th ranked Missouri this Friday in Hilton Coliseum at 6:30. Go out and support your seniors on senior night. That's all I have for your Cyclone Sports Update. We have more Newswatch after the break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Welcome back to Newswatch. And finally, a family in Australia has found what is believed to be the world's oldest message in a bottle. After 132 years since the bottle was thrown overboard, Tanya Illman says she found the handwritten note while walking along the beach. She noticed that inside the bottle was a damp note that had been tied up with a piece of string. The bottle is believed to be one of the thousands thrown from the German ships to track ocean currents. Surprisingly, the paper is still almost completely intact, with a lot of the German writing still legible.
Well, that's it for this edition of Newswatch. Make sure to follow us on social media at ISUTV.
Stay tuned, Ames Tonight is up next.
Have a great and safe break, Ames.